right, 1270 WHEO. Time for another episode of Be Real here on the WEO with me, Daniel Lewis, and my brother Brad Haynes, just being real with you this afternoon, because that's what people are looking for, something real, and that's what God's looking for, somebody that's real. And so we're just being real with you this afternoon, just hanging out, talking, and having a good time like we usually do. We're just actually on the radio. So, how you doing this afternoon, brother?
Doing good, man.
Got
an eyelash all hanging down here, man, poking me in my face and trying to see and everything, man. But other than that, I'm doing great, man. I tell you, it's
same here.
A beautiful day, man. Beautiful weather we've been having, man. It's just a great day, man. Good to be hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the new headphones, man. I can hear. Thank you.
It's awesome,
man. It's like, wow. It's
like
WEO. Clear. Thank you, WEO.
Yeah.
Thank you, WEO. I mean, it's nice, man.
It is.
The clarity and everything.
We're matching, man.
It's awesome.
We're like the twins.
I see it, man.
The radio twins.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, we got something going.
Yeah.
It's like looking in the mirror.
Yeah. Now if we can just get these computers straightened out, we'll be all right.
What's going on with them?
Looks like actually the monitor went out on this one, and then something about the battery pack over here went out, and so we had to get another battery pack. Got another monitor in here, which is from another computer, and then we have a couple of older computers that were in the office and one in my office mine was overheating.
Gotcha.
And it's the website computer, and then the other one out here in the office, one of the F11 key was stuck on the keyboard or something and reset the whole thing, so it erased everything on the computer.
Right. Man, it's always something.
This one shut down last Wednesday on Richard, apparently.
Right.
And so I don't know what actually happened with this one, but it's been acting good, and that's a good thing, because there's two in here.
Right.
We do not need this one to go down. This is where I get my music and my weather and all that other good stuff from. So
that'll keep you on your toes.
It's been a couple of weeks of some technology.
Right.
That's the way it goes.
It is. It always is, man.
Yeah.
That's just the way, the Murphy's Law, man, with everything, not just technology. It's
exactly.
Kind of, with weather and just anything, it's kind of part of the human experience.
But that just goes to show you, the more that we rely on this stuff, the worse, I think, the worse shape we'll be in. It's great to have this stuff.
Right.
Technology's awesome. I mean, you can find anything about anything and see pictures of anything at any time.
Right.
Whether it be good or bad, hopefully good.
Right.
But also, we're relying, and we're teaching our kids to rely upon it. And so, what happens when the power goes out? Does anybody know how to plan anymore? I know you're a farmer.
Right.
But I'm in the generation, I'm right there at the edge of the generation where I didn't learn to garden.
Right.
I know all about computers, but I don't know how to garden or how to can or any of that stuff.
Right.
And I know there's a few people, especially around here in Patrick County, that know how to do that are younger than me.
Yeah.
But I would say that the majority of the generations after my generation don't know how to do any of that stuff.
I'm with you, man.
And it's all about computers and cell phones and laptops and and that's just what they're raised up in school in.
Yeah, and all that's okay, man, if it meets the purpose. We've talked about that, but man, if we lose ourselves and we lose those basic human elements, man, I mean, like I don't think it was happenstance that utopia was man in a garden with God. And we still, man, I mean, as much as we're technologically savvy and we depend on ourselves and everything, we still have to depend on his food, man. You plant a seed and you grow it. That hadn't changed since the beginning of time. And even though, man, I hate what we've done with food and taking Whole Foods and run it through a chop shop, and we build out the parts so we can sell it off for more than the whole thing, and we've made food not food anymore.
We've killed it.
It's kind of like that Soylent Green, man.
Yeah, there's no nutrients at all. I mean, by the time it gets to us, it's pretty much dead.
It is,
and you're supposed to be eating these living greens that come out of the ground.
Yeah.
And then, the meat.
Right.
I mean, even that is so processed that it's just, you really don't want to get me on food.
Well, man,
when I started finding out all about this stuff, I was just like,
Right.
I can't believe it's just processed and processed and processed.
And it's just from greed, man, because you take a whole food and you just chop it up to make more than you can sell it for whole. And, but the main thing, the point why I said all that was we still, even though we chop it up, we have to depend on someone to plant the seed and him to make it grow and harvest it and have that. And that's amazing to me, man. As I was working in my garden today, just all day and just tending it and realizing that most people plant their garden, man, like one time and then they walk away from it. And when you're living off of it, man, you have to just be in it every day and planting like almost every other day. You're planting something new and getting other stuff started for when you're pulling stuff out. And it's constant because you got to be eating it. And that's like our faith. And I was thinking about that, just how constant it is. And then I was also the other thing that hit me, that you just, if it hits you somewhere, but that, man, we had one of the hardest winters that we've ever had since I've lived here. And probably one of the hardest winters in Virginia in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, it was a hard season, and some stuff even, like, got nipped back and died a little bit, some of the figs and stuff, but they're coming out now. But what I noticed, man, is things are growing better this year than they have in a long time. Oh. And I thought about that in my faith too, man, that a lot of times in the seasons that I've had that have been the hardest, where it felt like you were dying and things were the worst, usually if you get through that, they're followed by a season, man, of massive growth, you know. And it's kind of like that purifying power, man, that is in the hardships that we go through. And that's what happens with the land. That's what happens with us, you know. So I just want to say, if there's anybody out there going through that in some hard time, hang on and give that to him, because there's probably a time right around the corner, you know, when you get through this, of a lot of fruit and a lot of good things. And I know that's hard to hang on to right now, and it seems like it's never going to come, you know. And I've been through stuff like that in my life, man, where it seemed like it was never going to come, but when it does, it's so sweet.
It is.
And it's so real, you know.
And I've been through stuff too, of course, you know, going through a lot of things now. But, you know, it's nice to see, and especially when you're going through it, and always, you know, put it toward us as a storm.
Right.
You know, you're going through the storm. There's no telling how long the storm's going to last.
Right.
It seems like it eases up, and then all of a sudden it maybe some more. Next thing you know, it's thundering and lightning again instead of just raining.
You lose the roof.
Yeah. And you don't really never think is the sunshine's going to ever come out again. It's like, man, I just want a pretty day. It's been raining for weeks.
I'm with you.
You know, I'm just ready for a pretty day. I mean, why not a few pretty days, not just one?
Sure.
Because it might be pretty one day, and then the next day it's back to storming again for another couple of weeks, and you're like, is this ever going to end? Like last year's rain at the end of summer.
That's right.
It was just like raining constantly.
Yeah.
Is this ever going to stop? And like you said, this past winter, I mean, it was, you know, not as far as power outages and stuff like that. It wasn't that bad, but just the extent of it. It started early. It come in. It was freezing cold back in November. Yeah, the intensity of it. I mean, it was in the teens in the end of November.
That's right.
And December was pretty much all teens, in January, and then we had a couple of big snows, you know, that really just, or 2 or 3 snows that locked everything up.
Yeah.
We were really blessed to come through that, to where a lot of people didn't lose their power for a week or two at a time, but it was still a very long winter, and I was like, is this ever going to be over with?
That's right.
And then, you know, finally the sun does come out. It's the other side, but I'm thankful for God to, you know, not only is he with us in the sunshine sunny, but he's also with us in that storm too, if we just remember that.
He is.
And remember that when it is finally going to be sunshine sunny, and it will be.
Right.
All this is temporary anyway, no matter how you look at it, even if we don't make it here on earth.
That's right.
As far as in our bodies to the sunshine sunny, he has something that's promised for us.
Yeah.
Beyond this right here. And that's why I always like to say I reinvented it, because I hear people talk about it all the time, and it's okay because you hear it, that there's no promise for tomorrow.
Right.
Well, that's true for here.
Yeah.
But I do have a promise for tomorrow.
That's exactly
right. And I'm like,
right.
wait a minute, I'm going to get that saying out of my head. That there's no, I've always heard that.
Yeah.
You know, there's no promise for, you know, tomorrow's not promised. And no, I'm going to say no.
Right.
No. His word promises me a tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it might not be here. It might be up there.
That's a good point,
that's
man.
where I want to be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'd rather be up there than I would be here anyway.
I'm
know?
with you, man.
And but there's things to be done here, and so that's why he's got me here. There's a purpose, and each and every one of us have that purpose. And as long as we keep that relationship with him through the storms, through the sunshine, sunny,
and involving him in that storm, man. That's what I love when I read the Psalms, man, and look at David a lot of times, where he said, "I was a brute beast before you," and crying out, and it said Jesus, you know, was offering up tears with loud cries, is, and just being real, because God sees all that anyway. So just exposing yourself to him and saying, this is what I am now, and still going to him in all that, man. And that's when the roots go so much deeper, man. That's the unseen, and that's what we've talked about so much, that everything has to have the root before you get the fruit. But everybody wants the fruit, and they don't want to do the root stuff, and all that's unseen, man. And that's deeper, and that's in him, and that's involving him in your pain and in your happiness and all the times in between, man. And not hiding like Adam and Eve, man. Like when they had done that, they went and they hid and everything, and he called them out, man, and made them clothe himself, man, out of skin for him. So I mean, it's just cool, man. He's in all that, and that's why he died for us, and he wants to be in that. But so many times we exclude him out of all that, and then just organize him in these prefab ways that it just chokes the life out of it. And he wants to live our life with us.
Yep.
And so it's just daily, man. It's the relationship. It's involving him in everything, yielding to him in everything,
and being real with him.
That's it.
He already knows the truth. He just wants that. And that was a great example of the Adam and Eve, because I had run into some friends on Facebook, and of course they're in this atheist stuff, and they were basically making fun of that point, to where Adam was hiding from God. Adam and Eve were hiding. He was like the Bible's first hide and seek game was Adam. And I said, what you don't understand is this is much deeper. This wasn't a game. God knew,
sure,
because they were like, they didn't understand God's all-knowing, omnipotent, he's everywhere. How come he didn't know Adam and Eve were behind a tree? He comes out and he's asking, where are y'all? Where are you at? You're hidden. God knew. That's what I'm trying to explain to them. God knew. He just wanted to see what they were going to say, because this is the first time that they've actually disobeyed him, apparently. They just got through sinning. So they're scared, they've hurt their father. They knew they'd done something they wasn't supposed to do.
Right.
And so their father's looking for them. He knows where they're at. He just wants to see what they're going to say, because now they know the difference between good and evil.
And it's the same thing he's asking us today, Daniel.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing he's asking those guys and us whenever we're not connected. Where are you?
Yeah, where are you?
And that's,
be true.
That still voice in our hearts that we feel, where it's like, oh, man, I mean, but we want to get away and do it our way for a while. We shut him out, and it happens, man. But the more and more and more, man, that it becomes this daily thing, things transform. It's different. You change, man. I mean, you still struggle. You still have all the pain. Sometimes you fail, but
we're human.
It's just different, man. And like, I hope that's come off, man, so far in the shows that we've done, and I think they have. And I've run into some more people and stuff that have commented on, and I'm thankful that it's touching people, and that I'm touched by my conversations with you guys about it. So let's keep having them.
Same here. That's right.
And all that. So
I just love talking about it, and so talking about him, and so when we can get on here and actually share it, it's just actually like it's actually sharing our phone conversations, because me and you've had several phone conversations,
sure,
and we're like, well, there's 4 or 5 shows right there, because we just talked for about 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is like, that was kind of cool that you were calling them episodes, because I think that's kind of what they are, man, and that's kind of what our daily lives are with Christ, and our relationships and our intimacy with him and with each other and with our spouses and everything. I mean, that's what it kind of is.
Yeah,
and it's this thing kind of plays out, and then you put them all together, and it's it says something. It's like a mosaic, you know. I mean, the little tiles, you don't see it, but then you put them together, and it's the picture, you know, and everything. So it's neat, man, to see where he's taking us with this and everything. And I'd said to you on the phone, man, one
Ephesians
of the things,
3:20.
Yeah, I was doing that, and then, man, I ran across another one that got me even more. But we probably will hit the 3:20. We can add on to that too. Yeah. But
I love that book,
Proverbs, man. Too, just the beginning part about it, you know, when I looked at that, man, and we were talking about the garden stuff and the cultivating stuff and all this daily stuff, and when I read this, man, and just the being real stuff, and when I read the beginning of this, man, I see him saying that's exactly like our seeking, and that's what you and I, man, have had so many conversations about seeking him. and what it means to seek him. And we say that so many times, that seek him with all your heart and all that. And it gets down to words, man, and what does that really mean?
Yeah.
And the way he breaks it down here, man, I think is so amazing. And when I think it's going to blow this thing wide open when we really talk about it, because there's no way to wiggle out of this and seeking him anymore, man. And it's concrete here. It's black and white, and you're either doing it or you're not. And when I look at it, most of the time I'm not, and it convicts me, and then I give myself to him, and then all of a sudden I am.
Yeah.
And that's, so you mind if I just read the little first part of it, and then we'll just talk about it?
Yeah.
See what it says. But this is Proverbs 2. He said, "My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding, and if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding." I love those, Daniel, man, because it's call out and cry loud. That's from the heart, dude. That's deep. That's from the core of you. That's you. That's not something you're doing. That's calling from your heart, like Daniel, like David. And if you look for it as if for silver, I want to hold on to that as if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. That was an if and then, an if-then statement. I love looking at those in the Bible too. If you look for it, then you'll find it and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom, and from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He holds victory in store for the upright. He's a shield to whose walk is blameless. He guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. Then you will understand what is right and just and fair, and every good path. Another then, for wisdom will enter your heart, and that's cool too, man. It's entering the heart, not the brain. And knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is just searching for it. He's like, if you search for it like silver, basically, if you're going for him and the knowledge and just what the meaning of your life is, like you would money.
Yeah.
And if you would search for it like a hidden treasure. I remember growing up, man.
It's rare.
It is.
Silver's rare. So if you're searching for it like silver, if you had to go out here, not to interrupt you, if you had to go out here looking for silver, I don't even know where I would start. I guess I'd probably maybe call somebody and go, "Hey, you got a silver mine somewhere?"
He's saying go after it, man, like a hidden treasure. Like, remember when the Titanic was sunk or whatever, and all I heard for all these years, man, was how they were searching to find. They were going to get down there and look at it, and all this exploration put all their effort and everything they got into it. And man,
millions of dollars.
If you knew that there was a hidden treasure in your yard right now, if you knew, man, if anybody in the county knew that in their front yard was like what? $20 billion?
Wow. The kids would definitely be getting shovels this afternoon.
Where would people be?
They'd be digging their yards up.
I don't think you would see them too much. They'd just be digging and digging and digging and digging. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm serious.
Yeah.
And isn't that what he's saying? And isn't that to the parable, man, of the hiding in the field and all that?
Yeah, the pearl. All that.
You know what I'm saying? That aren't we supposed to be digging for him, man, that with that same intensity that we have, and I want people to stop and think about that. If you had $20 billion buried in your front yard, where would you be right now?
Yeah, I'd definitely be in the front yard.
Well, what I'm telling you is, you do have $20 billion buried in your front yard.
See ya. Oh, I know what you're saying. I know that's spiritual. That is actually the truth.
In you, in your front yard of you.
It's the treasure of heaven. What is it worth? That's worth way more than $20 billion. It's unbelievable. Yeah. We need to,
If people believed that, it would change the way they lived. And that's what the Bible is saying. And that's what Christ is saying through his life, that there's something in you that's worth eternity, that you don't, that's trying to be masked from you, that if you got eyes to see it, you're going to see that you're deeper than what you think you are.
And you see, and just, to open that up a little bit more, you see kind of people turn to that. If especially if they're told, something, they have some sort of disease.
Right.
And that they might not be living too much longer.
Sure.
All of a sudden you get that, I need to find the Lord. You get that seeking of that, what you just read, the very first, the crying out.
Yeah, cry aloud.
From your heart. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it's all of a sudden you're awake.
Right.
And it's like, wow, I need to really, it opens you up. It opens your eyes up to, hey, I need to be seeking, this life is not just it.
Right.
I've been living here for this. And then all of a sudden I'm told this, and I'm not going to be here no more. I need to figure out what's going down.
Right.
And that's what really. There's a little different circumstances for me, but it was pretty much I was toward the end of me giving up myself.
Sure.
Which was selfish, stubborn, and all these other things. But most self-centeredness is what I would say. But it took that. It took me to get all the way to the bottom to realize that, hey, wait a minute, there's something more to this than just that.
Right.
And so what I try to do now when I speak about the Lord, which is almost constantly, and I don't want to shove it down anybody's throat, but I definitely want to let them know what the truth is, that I have found this truth.
You're just sharing your
and
picture.
I'm like, look, there's $20 billion in this front yard. Let's all go after it. We can share this. It wasn't just meant for me. It's a gift for all of us.
Isn't that what it's about?
Yeah, and don't get to the point to where I was. Don't get to the point to where other people have to be taken before you start going, hey, I need to find out what life's all about here. I need to find life. Because actually we're all just living in death. We're living in death until we find Jesus Christ, and then that's when we start living in life. When we find Him, He is the life, and we're living in Him, and He gives us life, not only for eternity, but for today.
That's right, man.
It's awesome. And just thinking about it the other day, I think we're getting ready to get cut off. I hope not. We'll see what happens as things make a wreck.
National Weather Service has issued severe thunderstorm watch number 281, effective until 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This watch includes the following counties in North Carolina, Caswell and Rockingham, and the following counties in Virginia: Allegheny, Bedford, Plymouth, Pontotoc, Carroll, Craig, Floyd, Franklin, Giles, Halifax, Henry, Montgomery, Patrick, Pittsylvania, Pulaski, Roanoke, Rockbridge, and Lyth, and the following independent cities in Virginia: Buena Vista, Covington, Danville, Galax, Lexington, Martinsville, Radford, Roanoke, and Salem. Remember, a severe thunderstorm watch means that conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, including large hail and damaging winds and close to the watch area. While severe weather may not be imminent, persons should remain alert for rapidly changing weather conditions and listen for later statements and possible warnings. Stay tuned to NOAA Weather Radio, commercial radio and television outlets, or internet sources for the latest severe weather information.
All right, I think we're back.
It's coming, huh?
Yeah, well, it's a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. tonight, and that's for Patrick County and surrounding areas, including a lot of the North Carolina, more North Carolina counties than it is us. Just taking a look at the radar, there is some stuff in Hickory. All this stuff is moving north, so we ain't got nothing facing us now, but there is quite a bit out there. Hickory, coming up north through Boone, Durham still getting it quite a bit, to the east of Greensboro getting it a little bit on 40, and up in West Virginia. But again, like I said, everything's moving north.
Gotcha.
So as of right now, nothing directly affecting or coming toward Patrick County.
Maybe overnight, man. We got a good chance of getting something.
Yeah, there's
tomorrow night. Maybe
every day
get some.
But there's
replenishment.
There's an 80% chance tonight. As long as it don't come in too severe, I don't mind. Thunderstorms.
Sure.
They actually help me sleep. I love the lightning and the thunder.
Yeah, it's neat.
It is neat. As long as it ain't too severe. When you get the really gusty winds and the crazy lightning, that gets kind of dangerous for people that have to be out in it. So
sure.
Yeah, I don't wish no hardship on anybody else just so I can sleep better.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So wait a minute, before we get any further.
Yeah.
Whippoorwill.
Oh man, you must
kicking?
have read my mind, because when you said that about the sleep,
Yeah.
and tomorrow full moon again.
Ooh.
Well, last couple nights he's been off.
Really?
3-4 times a night again. Whenever it's full moon, man, he messes him up on, because they come at dawn and dusk.
Yeah.
So the light messes him up. So he'll come 4 or 5 times. And honestly, I was just so exhausted from work stuff. Last night was the first night that I slept through it, man. And my wife got up, Tanya did, and dealt with it and everything.
Open the door.
Yeah, I was so tired. I got up this morning, man. My eyes were all puffy and everything. I looked at her. I was like, oh, thank the Lord, he didn't come last night. And she was like, yes, he did. I was dealing with him. You were just zonked out, so, but yeah, he's still around. I'm recording him. I got more pieces of stuff every day, compiling. Wow. At some point, man, I'll have to compile this whole daily whippoorwill thing, but, we'll do something with it. But it's fun. He's still singing, and I talked with someone about that. She said she has a whippoorwill too. She heard me talking about it, and she loves her whippoorwill and everything. So
yeah.
People, are feeling the whippoorwill stuff, and it's neat,
Yeah. And you and Tanya still haven't named him?
No, just the whippoorwill,
just
man.
The whippoorwill.
I've thought about it and all this, but I don't know, man. In farming, I've just gotten to where I don't name a lot of stuff, because we did that early on in our greenness, and then we lose stuff and it hurts. So
it does.
Just over the years, man, to me that's the name, man. So he does have a name, but if he doesn't show up, just me not calling him Charlie or something. Well, like if I say, hey Charlie, and then he doesn't come, I'll be like, oh man, where's Charlie?
That ain't Charlie.
But right now, I could be like, well, he's just off doing what whippoorwills do,
He's probably sleeping during the day and keeps you up.
But Charlie, man, if I thought about Charlie, I'd start hurting me. I said, well, where is he?
Yeah.
Or where,
Charlie.
Or
you meet a Charlie and you go, you know what? I had a whippoorwill name.
Or it could be it could be, what's a good girl name, man? Or is like Jackie or something. Or I don't know, man.
I like that.
I liked Jackie Brown back in the day, the 70s stuff, So I always liked that kind of era, Actually, man, that reminds me, I got this book, man, at Goodwill that was like people. It was like all these pictures of people, it was so cheap, man. I can't even tell you I'm so thankful for it. But it's like throughout our lifetime, you and I are same generation. And it was just neat, man, seeing all those different pictures.
Faces and stuff.
Yeah, that bring up the memories and everything,
Yeah, your last message when you talked about Sly Stallone, that brought up a lot, because I was around that kid age when Rambo and Rocky come out, and so you want the muscles and the guns, and
it's like our growing up and that whole thing of Rambo,
Hulk Hogan,
Rocky,
wrestling, and it's just all about.
It was a strange culture, man, but neat and everything, and just from the different. 70s on, and how it is different now, because everyone's so segmented and choosing their own entertainment and stuff, that there's not like this shared culture
is
as
weird.
much anymore.
I never thought about that. That is kind of, really, it's not like it was, I don't think, in the 80s with the certain, everybody's following kind of the same fashion trend.
Right.
There's still fashions, you can see it, but everybody's kind of like, you're so, be your own self, really.
Dude,
do what you want to do, love who you want to love. It's just a free-for-all, just whatever, wear what you want to wear. And
I think we're kind of in the regurgitation generation. I'm serious. It's like we just go back, and there's no new movies, there's no new music. It's like we just regurgitate something we've had back.
That's true.
Back in the 90s, and remake it and maybe we can coin that right now. I honestly promise, with God as my witness, I've never heard that label before. That just came, but maybe we can really
regurgitation.
The regurgitation generation. Is kind of what it is, because it's just this rehashing of. I see that, man. Everybody just chooses whatever fashion they want from the past 50 years, and you just kind of amalgamate them all together or whatever. And the same with music and entertainment and this and that.
Music's got.
We've even done that with Jesus. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No. I was interrupting you. Music just, that's gotten really crazy as far as the music stuff. I've tried to listen to some of the new stuff. There are a few I guess, decent, good songs.
Right.
But man, I mean, just everything. And it's probably always been that way, but I've never really paid attention to it as far as the, where it talks about drinking so much. I mean, it's just like every song has got drinking in it.
Gotcha.
And, I just didn't remember hearing that in the 50s and in the 60s and even the 70s. I mean, there are those songs, particular ones, but you could just mention them right off the bat. But now that's like every song.
I'm with you, man.
I just had the country music on the other day. I just turned the radio on. The kids were listening to it over the weekend, and they were outside like chalking the sidewalks up, and they had the radio out there, and I was like, you can listen to whatever you want to listen to as long as it ain't too crazy. And so they had it on 104, and I'm listening to this 104, and wow. I was just like, is there a song? I'm out there washing my Jeep and this playing, and I'm really paying no attention to it. But, I keep hearing drunk, drinking. She's getting drunk with me tonight. We're getting drinking tonight. We're going to go drinking. I mean, it was just like, that's what I kept catching.
Right.
And I was just like, is there a song they're going to play this afternoon that don't have anything to do with drinking? I mean,
just kind of
might be somebody's thing, but I mean, I don't want to hear it the whole, it's just kind of weird that's
it's like
filtered in there,
making everything to fit a certain audience, man. And
yeah,
that was kind of the whole reason I brought all that up, was because I think we've done that with Jesus, that we've tried to make him fit our way, and we split him up into so many different groups to try and draw people to him, that we're drawing them to someone that isn't him, that it's us. We've replaced him, to where we tried to draw people to him, to where he doesn't need that. Just present him, Jesus. He's got his own draw. He doesn't need anyone to draw. I mean, he doesn't, you know what I mean? And like, he has that. When you encounter him, you're going to be drawn to him more than you were any of those faces that I was talking about. And more, I saw like Michael Jordan, man, and just like him, dunking and what that used to mean, and how we were drawn to him as kids, man. And like, that's just wild. How did he do that? Man, that draw that he had that's like, oh, that's boring compared to the draw that I have for Jesus.
Oh,
man, when I see the real Jesus, and the coolness and all that. And I mean, I know kids now are going, dude, who's Michael Jordan or whatever, but look it up, man. I mean, people should be talking about Michael Jordan. I don't care what generation we're living in, I mean, there's certain athletes and things like that. I mean, I think
he was a pioneer, because I think they're pretty much doing it all the time. Everything that he was doing, but he broke a lot of records at the time. From what I understand, I don't know. I don't watch basketball.
I'm sure they are, man.
Yeah, I'm sure they're
even stupid talking about it.
I've like went through the channels and like see them doing things, and I'm like, that's amazing. I used to see Michael Jordan doing that.
Sure.
I think he was just like
But they've taken it even to a whole different level, where it's like he just started it, but that's. I guess Jordan. That's how it goes, man. We just keep building. Everything builds on itself.
It's like somebody's always ahead of the generation. Somebody does something different,
right?
But Christ never changed. He's always the same,
right?
And so I think he does speak to a different generation. But like you were talking about, man don't need to draw people toward God. God draws people toward himself. We just present the message.
Just present him, right?
Yeah, just present
the
him.
message. I mean, it is. It's just he is the message.
I read something the other day, and I actually wish I had it where I could bring it up, and I can't remember what it was, but it was talking about carnal, and it was talking about there's a lot of churches that are pulling carnal men in using carnal things,
right?
And they have to continue these carnal things, or they'll lose the carnal men. And it's not, when you are using carnal things to bring somebody in, you have to continue to do that in order for them to stay. But if you present Jesus and they're drawn to Jesus, they'll stay, or they'll continue to follow Jesus.
Well, that other man is not cool. I mean, I saw that on a TV show or a movie way back. I don't even remember what it was, but they were like presenting their stuff and like, you need to come here because we have all these activities and these things, and it was basically just like some club, and it had nothing to do at all with Jesus. It was like all the different sport and stuff in the clubs and this and that, and all the just crafting and all this weird stuff. And I'm like, all those things are okay and everything. I'm not saying you wouldn't do those with fellow Christians, but to organize it around that is not cool, but that's what we've done, man, to like to draw, like you're saying. But I think that that's the main point of the whole thing is you present Jesus and the truth of his word, and the real disciples are going to be so drawn. I'm so drawn, man, with just the word and seeing his life and the instances of which he lived and all the disciples lived. And you and I talk about them that I don't need anything else. Like, that will intrigue me for the rest of my life, man.
Yes.
And I'll never fully understand it all, but I'll keep talking about it and digging. Remember when we started before the I mean, the digging. That's what it's supposed to be. You know, every day you have to think about that. And I don't want us to lose that, man. Like, right now, write that down or do whatever you have to, where every day you get up and you realize you got $28 billion in your front yard, literally and figuratively, in you. That what are you going to do to dig it up?
Where are you storing your treasure?
And man, that's hard. You know, we got to go after it like we do money. And that's what I've found in my own life. And it's still hard, and I fail at it every time. But when I go after him with that same gusto, he uses me to do all the work to provide for me and all that too. But I'm not going after that. Yeah. I'm going after him, and he provides that. Whenever I do it a lot, I take my mind off that and start going after wrong things. Then he ends up redirecting me and showing me again that, why are you doing this again? You keep getting off track, and that's the relationship. Yeah, you know, is getting off and him getting us back on, and that relating with him. What you got?
Yeah, that if we're seeking, you know, we're always seeking something.
We are,
and if we're not seeking God,
that's right.
If we're not seeking God with the same intensity that you're talking about, we're putting our efforts somewhere else.
Yeah,
isn't that idle? Isn't that idolism?
It's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
And if you look at that, and this isn't a legalistic discussion we're having. This is like from the heart, where it's not from the outside. Only you've got to look at your heart and say, honestly, what are you going after him with reckless abandonment? Like, I equate it a lot of times with the first love, and like when you went after your wife or your husband and that feeling, because we're supposed to keep doing that. Yeah. You know, and I'm not saying that it doesn't change and get more mature, but that intensity and that going after, man, we've got to keep that. We've got to keep that with Jesus, you know, and we can't do that on our own. Admitting that we need it is the first thing, and then it happens. But if you're not doing it, man, where my real journey started, honestly, man, about 4 years ago, where I went deep, and I think he turned me from being lukewarm, was where I admitted that something wasn't right there, that I was saying I wanted to have that, but I didn't have it. I wasn't seeking him with every fiber of my being, and I knew that I wasn't, and I was doing activity, and I was doing all the church stuff, and I was, man, slammed with all that, but I didn't have him. I wasn't feeling it. And when I confessed that, man, and I started telling him that, that's when everything started to change. And when I get away from him now, and when I start to confess that again, things start to change.
Yeah, same.
And it's, you know, but
same.
We've got to do that and admit it. And so many times we want to be like Adam and Eve and just hide.
Yeah.
And because we know we aren't connected, so it's just a lot of times, like with our spouse and stuff, when it ain't going that, it's instead of working it out, it's easier to just hide.
Yep.
And I've done that, and we do that, but you get nowhere doing that.
No.
You know, but that's human nature, man.
It is human nature.
We've got to overcome it, though, you know, and start admitting it and coming out and digging.
That's what repentance all about.
It is, man.
That's what repenting is. I mean, you know, it's overcoming.
Yeah.
And only with him can you do it.
And that's the theme of the day, man, is digging.
Digging.
You know, just realize.
I dig it, brother.
Dig it. Dig on. You know, I mean, we just need to dig it.
Dig it. I dig it.
You know, and I mean, that'd be a cool shirt, would it just dig it.
You
know, I mean, just be real and dig it.
Dig
whatever it takes, you know.
Yeah.
But it's I'm thankful, man, that he has put this treasure in us, and if you dig, you're going to find it. But if you don't dig, see, that's the scripture that we read. If you don't dig with that intensity, you won't find it. You'll find something, and you may label it Jesus. But he said if you ain't digging with that intensity, you ain't going to find it.
That's right.
So that's what we've done a lot of times is we start digging. We did it a half-hearted thing, and then we found some little paper relic or some little thing, man, off one of those pop rings that you used to suck on as a kid, and you say that's the treasure. No, that's just what a little ring sucker was sticking on.
And we found we're digging, and we find a little nugget, and that's the treasure that we're looking for. But knowing, and only he knows, 2 foot more down, maybe a foot, maybe even 6 inches.
That's right.
If we just give a little bit more effort in that digging, we could have found a whole block. A
whole vein of gold.
A whole vein of gold in there.
I mean, that's to where he busts that thing open. And a lot of times, man, it's like the season, the hard winter. Sometimes, man, before you get to the treasure, there's going to be a good bit of digging to do where you don't find nothing, where it looks like this is futile.
Mm-hmm.
But that's perseverance, man. That's the Christian life. You just keep on digging, trusting that his promises are true. And that he's going to deliver at some point.
Yep. Dig through the dirt to find the foundation. Praise the Lord.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's where we can end it. I think if we have to end it,
I guess it's moving on to happy birthday time.
Got to do the happy birthday time, man.
That's the way it goes.
Enjoyed, man, talking to you about this. And I mean, everybody
As
just keep
always.
on digging until next week. And who knows, man. And then let's expose to each other what we find in us as we dig. You say, confess your sins one to another. We all got it. Let's come out, quit hiding, confess. I'll dig, you dig, and I'll say, hey, man, look at what I found. I didn't even know this was in me. And then we get it out.
That is some really truth right there, because I've done that and got down in there and not realized all these roots that have taken a hold in my heart that I didn't even realize it. The bitterness and the back hatred, or you just dig it up and then you find it and it's like, wait a minute, how's this? No wonder this new stuff won't grow. I got all these dead roots in here.
I mean, but if we don't dig, man, we don't even know it's there,
right?
Exactly.
It just sits there and festers, and it eats you alive, really, and it makes the ground just unfertile.
It pollutes it.
It does.
From in there, man. Yeah. If there's something rotten in there,
seed can't grow,
or oil or whatever seeping out,
yeah,
it would pollute it, man.
It is, brother.
But keep on digging, man, and everybody out there, dig on.
Dig it, man.
See you next week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Brad.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.